You probably don't feel rich, even if you technically are. Your income covers the bills, maybe even the flights, but the feeling of security keeps slipping further away. You scroll through endless images of luxury hotels and perfect lives, yet something inside says you're falling behind. That quiet pressure has a name: the luxury poverty trap. It's not about being broke. It's about living in a system that convinces you wealth is always just one purchase away. You might have more comfort than any generation before you, but comfort without contentment is the cruelest kind of poverty. This trap doesn't announce itself with bills or debt collectors. It hides behind aspiration, the soft glow of what success should look like. Everywhere you turn, the message is the same. Earn more, spend more, and maybe, just maybe, you'll finally feel enough. You don't buy luxury anymore to enjoy it. You buy it to prove you belong in the world you've been taught to admire. It's a subtle game of mirrors. Everyone looks richer than they are, and everyone feels poorer than they should. Modern luxury has stopped being about quality. It's become about identity, and identity is a hunger that never ends. You take the trip, post the photo, and smile through the filter. But deep down, the satisfaction fades faster than the story expires. Economists call it lifestyle inflation. Psychologists call it the hedonic treadmill. Whatever the name, it's the same motion, running harder just to stay emotionally still. And when you finally pause, the silence feels like failure. The trap starts small, almost invisible. You buy the slightly better phone, the nicer room, the newer car. Then suddenly, the baseline shifts. What once felt indulgent now feels necessary. That's how the modern middle class became exhausted. Not by scarcity, but by comparison. Every scroll rewires what normal looks like. Your neighbor's renovation becomes your renovation. Your friend's vacation becomes your benchmark for happiness. You're not chasing luxury anymore. You're chasing validation. And validation is the most expensive addiction on earth. This isn't a story about greed. It's a story about fear, the fear of feeling left behind. In the West, wealth once meant ownership. Now it means access to experiences, aesthetics, and approval. You don't own the lifestyle you display. You rent it, one transaction at a time. Every purchase feels justified because it signals progress. But in reality, you're buying back the confidence consumerism quietly took away. Credit cards were never just tools. They were passports to illusion. They let you live tomorrow's fantasy with today's money. And they whisper the same lie, that joy is something you can finance. The trap deepens when luxury becomes emotional comfort. Bad day? Add to cart. Good day? Celebrate the same way. Soon, spending isn't about reward. It's about regulation. You buy peace for a moment, then pay anxiety later. Marketers understand this perfectly. They don't sell products anymore. They sell identity, belonging, and escape. They show you the private jet, not the debt behind it. They show you the villa view, not the unpaid balance that built it. Even travel, once the symbol of freedom, has become part of the trap. Vacations are now brand statements, proof that you've made it, even if only for a week. The irony is that true luxury has never been cheaper or lonelier. You can stay in a 5-star suite for a few $100s, but the dopamine cost is far higher. Every upgrade brings diminishing returns. The first taste of luxury thrills you, the second feels routine, and the third demands more. This is where emotional inflation begins. Pleasure loses value faster than money does. And like currency, it takes more of it to buy the same feeling again. You end up rich in experiences, but poor in satisfaction. It's a strange kind of poverty, one built from abundance. You have everything your grandparents dreamed of, but you can't seem to rest. That restlessness isn't failure, it's design. Because an economy built on consumption can't afford for you to feel content. Your discontent is someone else's profit. Every algorithm is engineered to remind you of what you don't yet have. Every feed is a curated museum of other people's better. Even in travel, the last escape, the illusion persists. You're told to chase once-in-a-lifetime moments, even if it means living paycheck to paycheck. But what happens when every trip starts to feel the same? when even paradise feels predictable. That's the moment realization begins. Luxury loses power the moment it becomes routine. We weren't built to live in constant excess. We were built to savor rarity. A sunset only moves you because it ends. A luxury only feels special because it's rare. When everything becomes accessible, meaning evaporates. And when meaning goes, all that's left is maintenance. You keep working not to rise, but to sustain the version of yourself that others expect to see. And the cost of that performance is invisible, yet crushing. You start saying things like, "I need a break," without realizing what you really need is simplicity. The mind craves quiet, but the market sells noise. Minimalism tries to sell itself as a cure, but it's often just luxury repackaged. Fewer things, higher price. Same trap, better lighting. Real escape doesn't come from what you own. It comes from what you stop needing. But that truth rarely trends. It doesn't photograph well, and it doesn't boost quarterly revenue. So instead, the cycle continues. You work harder, upgrade faster, and somehow feel further behind. This is modern affluence, abundance with anxiety, comfort with discontent. The luxury poverty trap thrives because it disguises envy as ambition. You call it motivation, but it's really exhaustion in disguise. Each new milestone raises the bar. Each achievement loses its flavor faster than the one before. And still, we chase. Because the alternative, stillness, feels like failure. We've been trained to equate calm with stagnation, but calm is what real wealth once meant. Generations ago, wealth was time. Time to think, to rest, to live. Today, wealth is noise. Endless motion to prove existence. We replaced being with showing. And now we're drowning in performance while starving for presence. That's the paradox of the modern traveler. You can cross oceans and still feel empty inside the suite. Because the real poverty isn't in your wallet, it's in your attention. Attention, after all, is the new currency. And you're spending it everywhere except where it matters. When every second is monetized, silence becomes rebellion. And choosing enough becomes the most radical luxury of all. Yet few dare to stop. Stopping feels like falling behind. But the truth is, you're already ahead. You just can't see it through the glare. You live better than kings of the past, yet feel poorer than ever. That's the final illusion. You measure your worth by the pace of others, not by the peace within yourself. Real luxury is invisible. It's not the car or the corner suite. It's waking up without dread. It's time, freedom, health, and quiet confidence. The kind that can't be posted, sold, or borrowed. But rediscovering it requires unlearning everything you've been told, because the system isn't broken, it's working exactly as designed. And you, unknowingly, became the product. Your insecurity is the fuel that keeps the machine alive. The only way out isn't to earn more, it's to want less. The reset begins when you stop asking, "What's next?" and start asking, "What's enough?" But seeing the truth in numbers doesn't always change how you feel. You might know you're doing fine, yet the unease keeps whispering that you're not. That's because wealth today is psychological before it's practical. You measure it by emotion, not by math. Inflation raises prices, but comparison inflates expectations. What was once luxury now feels like baseline survival. You could earn twice your old salary and still feel behind. The goalposts move faster than your paychecks ever will. Walk through any Western city and the contradiction glows in neon. Cafes are full, but anxiety is overflowing. People live surrounded by comfort, yet feel perpetually incomplete. The richer the surroundings, the poorer the satisfaction. Travel exposes this more clearly than anything. You leave home to escape stress and discover others thriving with far less. In Southeast Asia, families share scooters, laughter, and street food. They have little, yet their smiles outshine five-star lobbies. It's not poverty that shocks you, it's perspective. You see joy existing without luxury and wonder what you've been chasing. A local vendor might earn in a month what you spend on a dinner. Yet they wake grateful, not deprived. That's when realization hits. Wealth isn't global, it's relative. Feeling rich depends entirely on who you're standing next to. Back home, comparison shrinks gratitude. Abroad, it suddenly returns. The human mind adjusts faster than any economy. We normalize blessings until they feel invisible. That's why you rarely feel progress. Every gain becomes ordinary the moment it arrives. Travel reminds you how much abundance you've forgotten to notice. Running water, air conditioning, safety, things that are miracles elsewhere. But within weeks of returning, the noise resumes. Ads, updates, algorithms, all designed to dissolve your perspective again. You don't lose wealth, you lose awareness. The trap depends on it. Real contentment would crash the luxury economy overnight. So instead, you're kept hungry for the next fix of fulfillment. In airports, you see it clearly. The hierarchy of access. Lounge passes, priority lines, exclusive tiers that turn travel into theater. Everyone is performing success in micro-rituals. Each upgrade feeds the illusion of rising above. But no matter the tier, the waiting never ends. The top simply moves higher. You board the flight, sip the champagne, and feel that quiet emptiness return mid-air. The view is stunning, but the feeling fades before landing. Luxury without peace is just noise with better lighting. You can't outsource fulfillment to design. The most expensive moments are often the most silent ones. The ones where you realize money can't amplify meaning. True luxury isn't the penthouse overlooking the city. It's walking through the same city without needing to prove anything. But proving is the Western pastime. Validation became the currency of belonging. We used to work for stability. Now we work for visibility. And visibility costs more than rent. Every click, every caption, every curated memory is another micro-debt of comparison. The trap deepens because envy wears the mask of inspiration. You call it motivation, but it quietly corrodes your peace. When you finally pause, you realize you weren't chasing success. You were fleeing inadequacy. The finish line was never real. Modern life turned luxury into therapy. You spend to feel control, not joy. And when the high fades, you buy control again. The loop continues because it works just well enough to trap you. The cruelest part is how efficient it's become. Even the idea of simplicity is now a luxury product. Mindfulness retreats, detox getaways, digital minimalism, all priced higher than the stress they claim to cure. Peace now comes with a checkout page. The irony is endless. You pay to disconnect, then post proof of it online. Luxury now feeds the very restlessness it promises to calm. It's not a solution, it's the symptom in silk. But every trap has a door, if you're willing to see it. It starts with redefining what rich really means. Rich isn't numbers, it's margins. The margin between what you have and what you need. If that margin is wide, you're free. If it's narrow, no salary can save you. You might already have enough, but keep upgrading the cage. Because the bars are gold, you call it progress. But the mind inside grows tired of perfection. Even paradise can suffocate when it becomes performance. Ask anyone who's reached the dream. Most describe not peace, but pressure to maintain the image. That's why burnout is the new badge of success. It proves you've played the game hard enough to break. But what if stepping back is the real status symbol? What if calm is the new luxury car? Imagine wealth measured not by income, but by mornings without rush. Not by hotels, but by hours of genuine rest. That's wealth the market can't sell. It threatens every industry built on your insecurity. Real abundance starts where fear ends. When you stop needing more, you begin owning your life again. The challenge isn't earning freedom, it's protecting it from expectations. Society doesn't celebrate moderation, it glamorizes extremes. Excess or collapse, never balance. But balance is the forgotten luxury. It's quiet, unmarketable, and profoundly rare. Travel can teach it if you let it. Only when you stop photographing the view do you actually see it. Every journey outward is a mirror inward. You discover not new places, but the old habits that followed you there. You can't escape comparison by changing continents. You escape it by changing criteria. Ask different questions. Not what can I afford, but what brings peace? Not where do I rank, but how do I feel? These questions don't trend on social media, but they build the kind of wealth algorithms can't measure. It's the wealth of stillness, gratitude, and presence. The wealth of noticing life without needing to document it. Luxury can still be beautiful when it's chosen consciously, when it's enjoyed, not displayed. A fine meal shared slowly, a trip without itinerary, a home that feels lived in, not photographed. That's where elegance lives, in restraint, not display, in subtlety, not spectacle. But restraint doesn't sell well, so the noise continues, louder than ever. Every ad promises liberation through consumption, yet every purchase tightens the chain. Freedom has no logo, but captivity does, and it's designed to look luxurious. Breaking free isn't dramatic. It's quiet, steady, and deeply personal. It begins with awareness, noticing how often you buy feelings instead of things, noticing how peace never comes in a package. You start to see patterns in your choices. You begin asking who benefits from your insecurity. That's when the illusion cracks. You realize the system can't trap you once you stop feeding it attention. The next step is rediscovering satisfaction, learning that enough is a destination, not a limitation. Gratitude stretches every dollar. Comparison shrinks every fortune. If you can trade envy for appreciation, you've already escaped. The trap loses oxygen when you stop competing. Luxury then transforms back into what it was meant to be: art, craftsmanship, beauty, joy, not validation, not escape. It regains meaning because it's rare again, because you don't need it every day to feel alive. That's the paradox. You appreciate luxury most once you no longer depend on it. Freedom amplifies pleasure, addiction dulls it. In that realization lies your real wealth. The quiet joy of sufficiency, the calm pride of control. You may never out-earn the system, but you can outthink it. Travel, ironically, is one of the best teachers of that truth. It shows you worlds where contentment thrives without consumption. You see smiles in simplicity and learn that peace scales inversely with possession. Less truly can feel like more. Western travelers often describe these moments as humbling. In reality, they're reminders of human balance. We were never meant to chase endlessly. We were meant to arrive, again and again, where gratitude lives. So next time you walk through a luxury lobby, look beyond the marble. Notice the people cleaning it, the quiet dignity, the grounded calm. You'll see more wealth in their composure than in any chandelier, because wealth without serenity is just glitter without light. Maybe that's the great awakening of our time. Realizing that being richer than you feel is not failure, it's opportunity. It means you already possess what the system tells you to keep chasing. It means the finish line was always beneath your feet. Luxury isn't evil, it's just misunderstood. It was never meant to define you, only to decorate a life already full. So buy beauty but never buy identity, own quality but never let it own you. When you understand that, you stop being a customer and start being free. You step out of luxury poverty and into genuine wealth. Not the wealth on screens, but the wealth within reach. The kind measured in peace, purpose, and the privilege of enough. That's where the story ends. Not in more, but in meaning. Because the richest life is the one that finally stops needing proof.